Welcome everyone to the session of Portal to Personalized Learning, the Experiential Learning Network Digital Badge Series. I'm Sandra DeCastro with IMS Global, and I will serve as your host today. I'll turn it over to the speakers in just a moment, but I just wanted to let everyone know that they are going to go through their presentation and share some of their expertise with the audience. And we will reserve Q&A for the end. If you have a question, feel free to put it in the chat, and we'll be monitoring the chat, and we'll work through as many questions as we can. You can also raise your hand to indicate that you have a question that you would like to ask at the end when we do Q&A. And if you do raise your hand, I will unmute the line at the appropriate time. And with that, I'll turn it over to Ann Reed.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ann Reed, and I am the Director of Micro-Credentials at the University of Buffalo. And I'm here today with my colleague, Christina Heath. She is the Administrative Director for the Experiential Learning Network. And we're excited to share with you some of our work in the area of micro-credentials. I'm going to give you a sort of broad overview of what we've done with micro-credentials since 2017. We have a university-wide initiative, and then I'm going to turn it over to Christina, who'll do a deep dive into one of our, one of my favorite programs actually that we offer at UB, which is the Experiential Learning Network's Digital Badge Series, which is a non-credit program that provides stacked badges for undergraduate students that are pursuing projects that are relevant to their own academic and professional goals. So let's just start off a little bit of background about UB, just so you know where we're coming from. We're a large research university. We're part of the State University of New York system. We have over 30,000 students, and we are a member of AAU. We have 13 decanal units, and 12 of those 13 decanal units currently offer micro-credentials. And the slide actually says we now offer over 50 micro-credentials, but actually we're up to 62. So I should change that to over 60 micro-credentials. And since, everywhere I go, everyone kind of defines the terms digital badge, micro-credential, alternative credential differently, just so we're all, in agreement about what we're talking about when we talk about micro-credentials. At UB, we define them as small skills-based programs, and they result in a digital credential. So obviously, you all know and appreciate what digital credentials are and can do. And so we have non-credit programs and credit-bearing programs, so anywhere from 0 to 11 credits. And we don't go over 11 credits because then we can get into the space of the certificate program that in New York State, any certificate, obviously, or degree program goes on to both SUNY, if you're in the SUNY system, and state ed for approval, whereas all of our micro-credentials are locally approved. So I think I'll talk about our approval process, our governance process. And our sort of tagline is skills you need, proof you have them. So when we say micro, we mean small in terms of time to completion and small in terms of the sort of granularity of the subject matter. We're credentializing very specific knowledge base or skill set. And so my office started in, 2017. We started offering our first micro-credentials in 2018. It took about a year to get everything in place to do this university-wide initiative. And so our goals are here on the screen. For my office, we decided we wanted to offer micro-credentials for the purpose of creating opportunities for more customized learning experiences. This came about at the same time as we were doing some other sort of personalized learning experiences for students. At the same time, we procured an e-portfolio system for all of our undergrads. We also kind of revamped our undergraduate curriculum to allow for pathways. And so at that point, we also decided to do micro-credentials to provide more opportunities for learners to individualize their their experience at the university. And we also aim to support student employability by aligning these micro-credentials with professional competencies and industry standards to show the relevancy in the workforce. And we also wanted to develop programs that are stackable to help motivate learners to completion, and also for those learners maybe to have, you know, a pathway into the university, start with something small and build on it. All of our credit-bearing micro-credentials stack to a degree, and our non-credit micro-credentials are often stacked, like you'll see in the Experiential Learning Network's digital badges that Christina will talk about. Okay, let's see. I can't change my slides with my, I got to use the screen here. Okay, so like I said, we have a university-wide initiative, and we're a large university. So some of our efforts are centralized and some of them are decentralized. So I oversee the Office of Micro-Credentials, which is under Academic Affairs. And my office provides faculty and staff, whomever is developing a micro-credential, with instructional design assistance. My background is instructional design, so I support the design of the micro-credential to ensure that it's a quality learning experience. And then my office also oversees the review and approval process, and we work with the Associate Dean's Council to get our micro-credentials approved. And we use our student information system. We're on PeopleSoft to register and track learners. And my office coordinates the transcript notation. Our credit-bearing micro-credentials are noted on the academic transcript. And we design the badges, we work with university communications, and we have ownership over the Acclaim enterprise account. So we use Acclaim. So you can see that a lot of the work that we do is centralized. And then the decanal units, or whomever in Christina's case is a non-decanal unit, and she'll talk about that. She's I'm not sure if you identify as a student support service, but whomever is overseeing the micro-credential really owns it. So they are the ones who, you know, with some support, design the program. They have the support of their leadership. They're the ones who market and promote the micro-credential to their office or to their audiences, and they, you know, they support the learners through the experience. And I'm happy to talk more about that. It's kind of a unique combination of centralized and decentralized. So like I said, we have a review and approval process. So this governance process, I think, is it's really important to me because first of all, it really helps to center our micro-credentials within the university and to help everyone to know that these are, you know, credentials like other credentials. So you know, they're not just something that anybody can throw together and say, you know, I'm gonna give a badge for this, I'm gonna give a badge for that. They have to go through a process for approval. So once somebody submits a proposal, we have proposal forms. They have their necessary approval at their departmental level and their unit level. They submit it to my office, and we have a review committee that's a committee of faculty, and there's some professional staff on there as well. And they review the proposal using a rubric that my office developed, just so that I'm not the only one looking at the proposals. We have a team of folks who look at it as well and make sure it meets the goals of our initiative, and it really makes sense as a program. It provides students with a meaningful learning experience and something that's not already available at the university in some other way. So then once the committee gives some feedback, sometimes whomever is proposing it makes some changes. We just want it to be really strong so that when it goes to the Associate Dean's Council, the Associate Deans for Academic Affairs, the same folks who approve new courses and programs, we want it to be very strong so that they automatically approve it. Otherwise it gets tabled for another month. And we want these to be, you know, approved quickly. Micro-credentials should be nimble. These are all approved usually within 3 months, anywhere from 6 weeks, I would say, to 4 months. So obviously much faster than a degree program. And then it's officially approved and ready to be implemented. So like I said, we have a university-wide initiative. We started big. We rolled out a pilot of 10 programs because in our first year, which was 2018, we wanted to try out a bunch of different things and see what would work and what didn't work, what needed to, be augmented a little bit. So we offer credit-bearing programs. Like I said, they all stack to a degree. So those are anything that has an academic coursework involved. So those are tuition-based programs, and the learners earn academic credit for those. And there's always something that's above and beyond coursework, some kind of sort of hands-on or project-based experience that's then embedded in the digital badge, just so we can really show the relevancy. In all cases, there is always some kind of hands-on project-based artifact of learning that's embedded in the badge. But the academic programs, you can't just take like 2 courses and earn a micro-credential. You can't just stumble upon it. You have to enroll in it, and there's always something above and beyond the coursework. Then enhancement is sort of co-curricular, extracurricular, non-credit micro-credentials for degree-seeking learners. And this is where the Experiential Learning Network's micro-credential falls into place. And then post-traditional is essentially continuing education. So fee-based programs for non-affiliated individuals. And emergent is the space that we design into our system so that we could make sure that we could innovate. We didn't want to get tightly, closed in on our ideas at the time. We wanted to be able to make sure that there was space for something we didn't think of. We do have emergent programs now. They're kind of a combination, sometimes a combination of academic and enhancement or post-traditional and something else like that. So yeah, so those are our 4 types of micro-credentials. And so we have 63 total micro-credentials currently. And we started out thinking that these would be experiences for our students, our existing students. So we really started out developing micro-credentials with that audience in mind, but we've grown and we realized how micro-credentials can really serve external audiences as well. So some of our micro-credentials are open to all, and some of them are only open to UB students. It just really depends on the program. So for example, like a program called Global Health Pharmacy, it's for students that are in the pharmacy school that are looking to gain some experience specific to global health and to supporting patients globally. And so you could see how only UB students in pharmacy would be able to take that. There's some prerequisites and things like that. And this is another example of a credit-bearing micro-credential. And so this one, for example, pulls in audiences external to the university that come as non-matriculated learners just to earn this micro-credential. It's in digital composition, and it's basically 2 courses, and then they develop a portfolio of writing samples, digitally composed writing samples. And so someone, a professional might want to earn this, or someone in another field who wants to have that writing for the web experience, or also someone from the English department might want to earn this on their way to their graduate degree to show that they have this sort of specialization in digital composition. And then this actually stacks to a writing certificate that then stacks to the full master's degree in English. So since we started, we've been collecting student data, sending out a survey and getting some responses to Likert scale questions and also to open-ended questions. So we have some really great qualitative data from our students. And basically they are looking, I love the data that we get back from students, because they kind of are saying what I've been saying all along, that micro-credentials can help students to differentiate themselves in the workforce. And it's something that they can have to show that they have these tangible skills. And they're actually saying that. So that's really exciting. 92% of learners are looking to improve their job prospects. So that's exciting too, that they see micro-credentials as an opportunity for this. And I wanted to use this slide as a segue into Christina's presentation, because I just kind of pulled up a few things that students are saying in response to the question, what do you think is the largest benefit of earning this micro-credential? So we have, I think, about 400 responses, and they say things like they are, sometimes they're talking about very specific knowledge base. So for example, I want to gain knowledge and skills that are aligned with my future goals in the field of science and technology. Other times they're looking to gain sort of soft skills, such as like we've seen a lot about looking to collaborate and to show that I have experience in collaboration and on teams and things like that. And the last two that are here are actually from the program that Christina is going to talk about. Sorry, I went back. I was trying to point and I forgot I had a live screen here. So learn something that I would otherwise not have the opportunity to learn. That is something that a student is saying from the Experiential Learning Network digital badges, because if it weren't for this non-credit program, they wouldn't have the opportunity to participate in this type of project, collaborative type project, because it's outside of the academic curriculum. So that's a really exciting thing. I think there's so much that's happening on campus, on everyone's campus, that doesn't necessarily get sort of formally recognized. And I think micro-credentials are a great way to provide formal recognition of all the learning that's happening, and that students should be able to have a way to share that and to talk about it. And so we can move to Christina. Do you want to take over? And if there are questions, I can answer any of them after Christina is done.
Okay, thanks, Anne. Hi, everyone. Again, I'm Christina Heath from the Experiential Learning Network, which is an office at the University at Buffalo. After some reorganization on campus, we were created in 2017 as a central resource for high impact experiential learning. And we are situated centrally within academic affairs and undergraduate education. So we work with students, faculty, and staff across campus to incubate new projects while supporting student access and engagement. In the fall of 2019, so last academic year, we launched our new project portal and stackable co-curricular digital badge series. All undergraduate students are invited to participate in project-based learning, and our focus is to help them really get personalized experience that is related to their academic and professional goals. So our project portal is really a website, a search engine, where students can search for different projects that have been posted by faculty, staff, and community partners. And there are many different types of experiential learning, but technically any of them can be created and turned into a project-based learning opportunity that can be posted here by meeting two requirements of our system. One of them is that it's mentored by a faculty or staff member at UB. And the other is that it results in a tangible output. This, in most cases, is something like a research poster, an educational video, maybe a narrated PowerPoint explaining their project and what they learned. Something tangible that can be attached at the end to their digital badge as clickable evidence of their skills, and that represents what they did. So it really gives them something to show for their internship, their research experience, or what have you. And students have many different options. It depends on the particular project. And right now there are about 174 projects that are posted on our portal. And students can help customize different aspects of each of the projects to really make sure that it fits with the type of experience they're looking to gain. In some cases, it's completely a create your own project where I actually work with them on finding a content expert on campus who can help them with the specific content, but then I work with them on structuring the project, thinking about their goals, and moving forward throughout the entire process from start to finish. The students, even if they choose a project that's already somewhat defined, there's a lot of opportunity within each one to tailor fit custom aspects of it. And then the students can also select from 5 different titles for their digital badge, which I'll explain in just a couple of minutes in more detail. Just to give you a sense briefly of the type of projects, the type of projects that are on our portal. Since we are a large research university, we have many typical research experiences where students are in different types of labs, working with faculty on research. Something that we're really proud of that I think is innovative and exciting is our global NGO projects. And the intent with these is to make a global experience accessible to any student who wants one, because no travel is required. And basically we work with faculty and staff across campus who have relationships with NGOs across the world and post projects on the portal where students can get involved and do something that meets one of the needs of the NGO. So lots of room for customization here and direct mentoring by somebody on campus who can help liaison and assist with that intercultural communication and everything that goes along with it. So these have been extremely popular, especially this year. And it's really been something I think kind of fun that students can have to look forward to. And then just briefly, we're starting to work with departmental programs such as different ambassador programs on campus that maybe aren't inherently project-based, but we can work with the staff to make them project-based so that students can go through and earn the digital badge and then have something special to show for their experience and the skills that they gained. Since we are on a large campus, and we only have 3 ELN staff members running the badge and administering the system and working with the students on everything from how do I get started to help me troubleshoot. We had to think of a way. Our dean really wanted us to figure out a way to scale this to ensure that it could be available to any undergraduate student who wanted to participate. And so we've been experimenting with different ways of doing this. And something that has worked really well so far is using a scalable evaluation model by using rubrics and allowing undergraduate and graduate TAs to help mentor the projects. So an example of this is we had an honors colloquium course, which they all do a service project that results in a tangible outcome. And there are 400 students taking this course. And so we worked with the faculty lead to work the badge into the syllabus and scale this so that all of the students having that honors experience would also earn a digital badge. Here are the badge titles. So upon signing up for the badge, the students get to choose one of these titles: mentored research, global collaboration, community engagement, creative work, or innovation. And they can choose the one that most closely reflects the type of project that they're doing. And originally we started out with just a generic title, and we have a student advisory board, and they were really pushing for different titles and customization. So this is new as of the fall 2020 semester. And the activities for the badge are administered in the form of online modules those remain the same no matter which title the students choose, and the specificity is built in to the way that the students respond to the prompts and complete the activities. So it was just a really nice way to let them customize another aspect of the digital badge. And we administer our badge through these online modules using the Pearl model for high impact experiential learning. This was created by our associate dean, who I report directly to, and Pearl stands for these blue words here: prepare, engage, add value, reflect, and leverage. And so we've worked all of this off of the belief that these are the pillars necessary for a student to really get the most out of their experiential learning opportunity. So all of our modules are broken into these phases that the students complete, and they are stackable to earn the final and overall badge title that the student chose. And just in case it's of interest to anyone, we do use NACE competencies and have them do a pre and post self-assessment to evaluate their skills and how they grew throughout the experience. And finally, just a little bit about assessing the effectiveness of our model. As students go through the modules, we ask them assessment questions to gather feedback and self-reported outcomes. All of this is mapped to our annual office assessment plan, as well as larger unit and university goals. So this is a nice way for us to directly show the value that we add on campus. And we're now using FormStack as our workflow system. And we use this to administer our digital badge activities, communicate with students, and gather their feedback. During our pilot year, we used platforms that were available to us, and it was very manual and very cumbersome for our staff to administer. So we got a SUNY grant to purchase FormStack, and this has been working beautifully so far as a manageable, scalable way to administer all of this. And we currently have about 600 students with in-progress workflows that are working on projects right now. Just a little piece of advice for anyone considering doing something similar is really to think about how to build in ways to gather learner feedback. I've mentioned already that we used ours to create the customized badge titles, and we've also used learner feedback to make continuous improvement, like refining some of our prompts to make it more clear what we were looking for them to submit, among other things. So here are some resources, links to our website, links to the project portal, and a web page outlining this digital badge. And here are our emails. If anyone would like to get in touch, we would love to hear from you. So I'm not sure how much time we have left, probably just a few minutes, but we can start to respond to questions.
Yeah, and if we don't get to any questions, you know, if we miss any, feel free to email us. We're both happy to chat via email or schedule a brief meeting if that would be helpful. So let's see. I'm going to see if I can scroll to the top of this chat. And okay, I shared the rubric. I hope that's helpful, and I hope you see it in the chat. It has a Creative Commons license, so feel free to use any of it that might be helpful for you. Okay, Luke asks, how weighted is employer demand in the approval rubric? Well, that's a good question. We don't really, you know, many institutions really design micro-credentials in a direct response to, say, regional employers' needs or something like that. We don't do that at UB. We've never done like sort of direct workforce development, that kind of thing. It's not really something that UB does in general. However, we do have at least 10 micro-credentials that have some kind of partnership with local industry or industry partners, and either developed the micro-credential together or the learners engage with the industry in some way. So we do ask that whomever is proposing a micro-credential to have some kind of statement about how it is relevant in the workforce, and to try to show some evidence of that need. So let's see, have we looked DW, I'm not sure if I understand the question about leveraging data from our system of record for outside the classroom activities. Feel free to chime in to talk about that question or send me an email, but we do offer quite a few enhancement badges. And actually our sort of non-credit co-curricular programs are some of our really most successful programs, like Experiential Learning Networks, digital badges. How many students do you have? Hundreds of them, right? Every semester?
Right now we have 600 with current projects going through the system.
And really great feedback from the students.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also they're serving the community, the local, the regional, and the global community, you know, so great feedback from those folks who are proposing projects as well as the students. So everyone kind of wins in this situation, and there's no additional cost to the students. So that's really, to me, that's really an exciting part of it as well.
And I believe we have come to the end of our time. Great presentation, a lot of good comments in the chat. They did, Anne and Christina did share their contact information, so I encourage you to reach out to them if your question, unfortunately, was unable to get answered this afternoon. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your conference. Take care.
Hi, thank you.
Bye, thanks.